Welcome everyone to Trend Micro Talks. I am your host, Erin Tomie, and today we're talking to Trend Micro Red Team engineer, Michael Draeger. Michael, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Very happy to have you on the show. I would love to start with you sharing a bit about your role here at Trend Micro.
Not a problem. My role is I'm a red team engineer, and we are basically tasked with doing red team engagements with our customers, in which we are actually emulating threat actors using the same tactics, techniques, and procedures that threat actors use, testing their security posture, and giving them a report on what how things look and how we got in, if we got in, and all that stuff. So it's high level.
Yeah. No, so when it comes to red teaming, I know kind of like you mentioned there are a few different types of services we offer specifically at Trend Micro, but can you outline those different types for anyone not familiar with how red teaming actually works?
Yeah. So we offer two types of services when it comes to red teaming. There's a red teaming, and then there's purple teaming. First off, when we're talking about red teaming, this is where the customer, typically only one or two people, are aware of the engagement. We are emulating the threat actors, and we are attacking their environment and seeing how they respond. And this actually comes in a couple, also two different types. Is first off, we have a choice. We can do a red team engagement where we are tasked with gaining entry into their perimeter, and this could be either exploiting some vulnerability, attacking something on their infrastructure, or phishing credentials from users and using social engineering, all that stuff to gain entry. The next piece or next option is also what we call an assumed breach. The assumed breach is basically the customer is going to give us a username and a computer or some system to access internally on their network. Thus, we're not trying to bypass. We already have a foothold. And then from there, our task is to break out of that machine, elevate our privileges, and achieve our objective. The other option that we offer is a purple team. And this is where we will actually sit down with the security team, or i.e. blue team of the customer, and step through an attack. Actually walk through each phase of the attack, and then go to them, and then we use their tools to see if they, one, identified or were able to identify it, and then help them identify and understand the attack. Those are the two kind of services that we offer currently with red teaming.
Do organizations ever maybe start with the red team so that they have the kind of example of someone getting in without it being known, and then also do a purple team sort of exercise so then they can also walk through it? Or is it usually one or the other?
It's usually one or the other. However, we've actually started, a lot of customers will start with the purple teaming up front, and basically to see how it is, because it's a shorter engagement. Just, hey, let's test the waters. Let's see what it's like. Let's see what this engagement is like. Let's see what the response is and all this other stuff. And then if they're happy with that, then they'll typically move on to the next level, which is going to be the red team and actually a full-on attack of their environment.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes more sense to go start with purple, get a feel for it, and then go to a red. That makes more sense. So you mentioned it a little bit there, but what do you think is the value of doing this type of exercise for organizations?
The greatest value in this is is to help them understand where their gaps, where there's potential opportunities for them to improve their security posture. It could be as simple as, hey, we got all these neat tools in place, but we forgot about the SQL server. That's 2008, and that's how threat actors are going to use to get in. So we help them try to identify those holes, gaps, weaknesses, if you want to call them, or even opportunities to improve their security posture.
Yeah, I love that part of it is, like you said, it's finding the gaps, and then also part of the service, depending on what they choose, is also helping them work through it so then they can learn themselves how to do it on their own, because obviously that's the ultimate goal, is that they don't need your team's help to do it. And then they can take those skills, test them, so that they can make sure they're as ready as they possibly could be for an actual attack.
Correct. And a good way to look at this is if you understand the attacker and you understand what they're doing, you can better defend against it.
So what is your favorite part of being on this team?
My favorite part about being on this team is just using the tools and actually doing the attacks. It is so much fun. We do go through long periods of boredom where we're trying, well, I wouldn't say boredom, but frustration where we're trying to figure out how to get in. But once you get that first initial access and you start moving laterally through the network, it's just exciting.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've also done an interview with Chris LaFleur, who's on Trimicro's incident response team, and he spoke. One quote he had mentioned was that it only takes one time or one chance for a red team to be right, whereas a blue team needs to be right all the time, so that the red team, who only needs that one correct chance to get in. So it's kind of interesting seeing more on like the less serious side of the testing side with red teaming of you only need to find that one chance, but sometimes it does take a bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. He put it perfectly. Blue teams have to be spot on all the time. We're allowed to fail all time, but all it takes is that one little thing, a password, whatever, and we're in.
Well, Michael, I really appreciate you coming on the show and talking about red teaming. I find it super interesting. I think our audience will as well. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.